What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Monday, January 9th. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, let's take a look at this 6-game slate. So at the point guard position, I'm going to give you guys some value plays in this video. So at the point guard position, I like Monte Morris from the Washington Wizards playing the New Orleans Pelicans, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They're middle-of-the-pack defending opposing point guards. Monte Morris has averaged 24.1 fantasy points per game on the season. He's playing an average of 28 minutes per game with a 15% usage rate. He's projected at 24.8 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.2 times value. He's 4,800 DraftKings salary, 800 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 228.5 points scored in this game. And Monte Morris has a good track record here versus the Pelicans. He scored 36, 30, 38, and 26 fantasy points in his last 4 games versus the Pelicans. So I like Monte Morris here versus the New Orleans Pelicans. Okay, let's take a look at the shooting guard position. Another value play that I like on this slate is Malcolm Brogdon from the Boston Celtics playing the Chicago Bulls, who have the 9th worst defense overall. They give up the absolute most fantasy points to opposing shooting guards. Malcolm Brogdon has averaged 26.1 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 24 minutes per game with a 23% usage rate. He's projected at 27 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.1 times value. He's 5,300 DraftKings salary, 500 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 237 points scored in this game. So I think it's a good game to stack, although there's a lot of high scoring games here tonight. So Malcolm Brogdon has scored 36, 26, and 39 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 28, 24, and 25 minutes. And Malcolm Brogdon scored 38, 34, and 24 fantasy points in his last 3 games versus the Bulls. Fantastic matchup. So I like Malcolm Brogdon here versus the Chicago Bulls. Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won. And then we'll send you $25 PayPal. So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you. Okay, let's take a look at the small forward position. I think we got some opportunity here for potentially monster value play, or a potential monster value play. So because of some injuries here, we got Bradley Beal out, Johnny Davis out at the shooting guard position for the Washington Wizards. So that leaves Will Barton from the Washington Wizards playing the New Orleans Pelicans, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. Now, they've been good versus opposing shooting guards. Will Barton, he came in and scored 25 fantasy points in 17 minutes last game with a 22% usage rate. He's projected at 18.6 fantasy points here tonight. That's 6 times value because Will Barton is only 3,100 DraftKings salary, 1,000 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 228.5 points scored in this game. And Will Barton, let's see how he's done versus the Pelicans. He scored 23, 32, and 37 fantasy points in his last 3 games versus the Pelicans. So if Bradley Beal is out tonight, I like Will Barton as a value play here versus the New Orleans Pelicans. Okay, let's take a look at the power forward position. I like Jaren Jackson Jr. from the Memphis Grizzlies playing the San Antonio Spurs, who have the 3rd worst defense overall, give up the 2nd most fantasy points to opposing power forwards. Jaren Jackson Jr. has averaged 34.8 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 26 minutes per game with a 24% usage rate. Now, he's only projected at 32 fantasy points here tonight. I'm going to bump that up to 35 fantasy points. You can edit the fantasy point projections. You just tap on the projection, put in your own number, and then click OK. And then we'll use that projection throughout the site, throughout all the tools. So Jaren Jackson Jr. is $6,800 DraftKings salary, $800 more on FanDuel, and he scored 45, 55, and 35 fantasy points in the last 3 games off of 28, 31, and 24 minutes. So Jaren Jackson Jr., he scored 28, 16, 45, and 41 fantasy points in his last 4 games versus the Spurs. And he hasn't scored under 33 fantasy points in his last 5 games. So I think he can pretty confidently get at least 35 fantasy points in this matchup. So I like Jaren Jackson Jr. here versus the San Antonio Spurs.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Okay, moving on to the center position, I like Wendell Carter Jr. from the Orlando Magic playing the Sacramento Kings, who have the 11th worst defense overall. They're middle of the pack defending opposing centers. Wendell Carter Jr. has averaged 32.8 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 31 minutes per game with a 21% usage rate. He's projected at 34.5 fantasy points here tonight, and that's 5.4 times value. He's $6,400 DraftKings salary, $100 less on FanDuel, and Vegas thinks there's going to be 239 points scored in this game. Wendell Carter Jr. has scored 31, 29, and 35 fantasy points in the last 3 games. He played 30 minutes in each of those games. And let's see how he's done versus the Kings. Pretty good here. Wendell Carter Jr. has scored 38, 43, 24, and 39 fantasy points in his last 4 games versus the Kings. So I like Wendell Carter Jr. here versus the Sacramento Kings.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smackety smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.